Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, what we're going to do is take a look at how the world began, going back to its roots. There's many different explanations for the origins of human beings in the universe. Some say that they came from green turtles, or or is somebody just went, I'm the great creator and I created everything. Scientists have different theories as to how this came about. All right. So my job today is to make sure that you know that what we're going to do today is examine human beings in the universe according to science. Okay. Scientists believe that the Earth or the universe began about 13 billion years ago. And what I'm going to do today is we're going to go through step by step as to how scientists believe that took place. So this is a PowerPoint, so I'm going to ask that you please take out your PowerPoint guided notes that are provided for you, and we'll get started. So the first area that we're going to talk about is this guy here, it's kind of cheesy, but I want you to know that I wanted to make this as simple as possible. And he wants to take a little trip, all right? And we're going to start off with a couple of questions that this guy Mundo has been thinking about, aka me, all right? One is, how did the universe come to be? Okay? How and where did our Earth come from? Where did it come from? Just fly out of midair? And how and when did we humans appear on the Earth? Okay? Again, those are all questions that scientists and priests and elders have been trying to answer for centuries. All right. So, again, I'm going to go through and talk to you a little bit about how people thought it started. Some people thought it came from a turtle. Who would have known? All right, he made humans from red earth mixed with water. This other dude, Fan Ku, all right, burst from a hen's egg and became the great creator of everything. And of course, Christians believe that that the Earth and the universe was created in 7 days. All of that. All right. So based on evidence gathered from sources on Earth and space. All right. Evidence. Evidence is a big deal. Okay. Evidence is gathered from these sources. So basically saying that long ago there was no time at all. All right. There was no space. But 13 billion years ago, that all changed. Okay? All right. This is what happened. All right? From far away, a massive explosion of atoms, what they think is atoms, burst out and formed into these incredible particles known as atoms. Okay? Where there had been nothing, now there was everything. The whole universe, tiny and fantastically hot. And for an instant, it expanded faster than the speed of light. All right, then it slowed down, but kept expanding as it still is. We are still expanding out into the universe. It's that vast. All right, and then it started to cool down. And once it cooled down, clouds of hydrogen, helium, gas began to gather together. Their centers getting hotter and hotter. All right, and this began the notion of the beginnings of different things moving forward. When they weren't hot enough, the hydrogen atoms began to fuse together with power of millions of hydrogen bombs. All right, and of course these things started to become as bright as you can be that we see in the sky every night, and that is the star. The star was born, and of course, as you know, at least I hope you know, that the sun is indeed a star. Okay, they cluster together in vast galaxies, all right, containing billions of these new stars. Okay, and again, we're kind of in an infant stage here, all right, but this is going on about 12 billion years ago. All right, we're still not even thought of. But 4.5 billion years ago, when the universe was already 2/3 as old as it is today, a star was born near the edge of the galaxy we call the Milky Way, and that is our sun. Okay, and eventually you've got the planets. All right, they're going to form in our solar system. All right, they're not saying that Pluto is they're saying that Pluto is no longer a planet. That wasn't for my day. All right, but Wisps of matter were drawn together by the forces of gravity to create these planets in our solar system. Okay, and we're the third rock from the sun, from what they say. All right, and that's our Earth. Okay. In the earlier days of the Earth, it was extremely hot. It had to cool down before any kind of life could get onto it. Heavier metals melted and sank to the center. Metals rose to the surface. Gases bubbled up, makes the Earth's first atmosphere. And again, this takes time to develop. 4 billion years ago, the Earth had cooled enough for water to condense into oceans, and so the Earth turned blue. The surface hardened into thin plates floating onto the molten materials underneath. Those plates float on the surface to this day. That's called land. All right, constantly changing the landscapes, the weather patterns of the Earth's surface. Okay, where the plates collided, you also got these mountains that are going to form. All right, mountains just didn't come out of thin air. Plates came together forcefully and pushed the mountains upward. Okay, and they were torn apart. Molten rock poured out from under the surface. All right. This molten rock is going to cool down and form what are now the islands of today. That's land surrounded by water. Deep within those newly formed oceans, complex chemicals were created using volcanic heat and energy. And that volcanic heat is what is going to form the cells that's going to be the first life on Earth. So if you take a look, 3.8 billion years ago, okay? 3.8 billion years ago is when life on Earth started. Living organisms changed the atmosphere, adding oxygen. Cells developed that could breathe this oxygen in, which is going to eventually become what we breathe. And this life is going to not necessarily start on the land, but in the water. The first multicellular organisms arose in the Earth's oceans. All right, multicelled 600 million years ago. Okay. First animals appeared not too long after that on land. After a while, some of those animals are going to move onto the oceans, onto land. Okay? Dinosaurs were the most successful of those early land animals. All right, first dinosaurs were 220 million years ago. All right? 65 million years ago, however, scientists believe that a gigantic meteor came crashing down to Earth. Okay? A gigantic meteor came down and took them out. Okay? The dinosaurs were no more, which is going to become that 67 million years ago. This is going to leave a new class of animals dominant on the land, which eventually became what is us, the mammal. Okay? These mammals merged that lived in trees. All right? They needed an environment like claws. They needed teeth to help them chew their food. They needed to be seen or to see to hunt their food. All right, they also needed hands that could grip with precision. Okay, they were known as primates. And 7 million years ago in Africa, a branch of these primates became the first to stand upright, and that's where we're going to come in. Those were the first hominids. Different hominids lived the Earth over the next 7 million years. This is 7 million years. This is still a long time ago. Okay, but only the ones survived to this day, which is now going to become what is us. These hominids, family-sized groups, gathered plants, insects, and small animals, started to develop their own sense of hunting and gathering. Okay, they had brains of about the size of a modern chimp. Over time, those species developed ever larger brains and began to make more and more complex tools. In other words, we want to becoming more and more sophisticated moving forward. Okay, the Australopithecines, all right, likely use sharp sticks to dig for food. That's a long word that we're going to learn. 4 to 1.5 million years ago. Okay, Homo habilis hominids, a later species, were able to make stone tools. And again, as you can see, their faces are going to become more distinguished. All right, these hominids lived on Earth for almost 2 million years. Were probably the first ones who can control and use fire. These are the hunter-gatherers. Also the first to leave Africa. Okay, their fossils have been found as far away as China and Java in the modern Indonesia. All right. So, again, social relationships among our ancestors are very, very complex. They must have been quite clever with a great deal of social cooperation, group politics. So in other words, a political, economic, and social structure. They had to have that in order to survive. They cared for each other, their children, because they knew how important it was for them to survive and move forward. Okay? But this species is very different in many other respects from our species. We have no evidence, for example, that they had any art, religion, or language. So anything that had to do with culture, all right, we couldn't identify. All right, not sure if they had languages, not sure if they worshipped anything or anybody, and there are no signs of art. All right, but we have their fossils to analyze. Okay. Now, in accordance to today, so what makes us special? What makes us human? How do we become human? Okay. We're going to wait on that until our next lesson comes up. But please understand that the beginnings we're still infants. All right? We've been around, our country's been around for about 250 years. That's it. We're not talking millions of years. These are millions of years that are going to go by. Hundreds of thousands of generations of these hominids are going to take place. So I hope that you finished up your notes, and we'll continue with the big arrow of one when we move into more of ancient history.